Welcome back. Defend Black Women. It's much more than just a popular hashtag. In tonight's The Next 400, Nyorkor introduces us to a local activist using art as a tool for change.
We must love Black women. We must own Black women. We must defend Black women.
It was the chant heard all around the city.
No cop zone. No cop zone.
And the idea came from this woman, Alana Garrett-Ferguson, the 28-year-old community activist who's leading the movement here in Cleveland, Defend Black Women.
When you think of Defend Black Women, document it and make the art visible in a way that speaks to you. Because what it means to defend Black women for you is not the same for me.
Garrett-Ferguson has been on the ground for years, shaking things up and trying to hold those in power accountable. But she tells me she felt even more compelled this year after the deaths of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, when people all over the world took to the streets to protest police brutality in communities of color and systematic racism. But she noticed the conversations rarely focused on Black women. According to a Washington Post database, since 2015, nearly 250 women in total have been killed by police officers. 48 of those women, 1/5, were Black. Research shows the conviction rate is low in all of those cases. In that time frame, there have been only 2 cases where officers were charged. 1 police officer was acquitted, while the other case is still pending. In comparison, there have been 5 cases since 2015 where police officers were charged in the shootings of white women. 3 of those resulted in a conviction. Garrett-Ferguson says it's disheartening.
We don't have the privilege of being fragile. We don't have the privilege of being graceful or anyone really seeing us as victims. We are always seen as survivors. And that is harmful because at the same time, that's stripping away a part of our humanity.
And so she organized a call to action.
What does it mean to defend Black women?
To defend Black women means to allow them to have their complete autonomy to exist in a world that is free of state-sanctioned and gender-based violence, for them to be able to receive quality health care, for them to be able to have children and have their children live past the age of 1, to have their children grow up and not have to be worried about them being gunned down in the street by law enforcement or anyone else. It is allowing Black women to make more than just 62 cents of a dollar of a white man, but actually paying them for their worth and all of their time. It is allowing Black women to live in environments that is free of harmful toxins.
And the list goes on. But she started designing a series of events that would focus solely on Black women, addressing some of the issues and providing solutions. There was art, there was activism,
We take a moment of silence.
and a call to action.
We need to be believed. We need to be nurtured. We need to be loved.
Garrett-Ferguson knows there's much work to be done, but she believes united, Black women can make real change.
We listen to different sides of the story, that we use different tools. We use the election tools, we use the tools of artistry, we use the tools of grassroots activism. We use all of these tools together. We have to work together, we have to hear everybody, and that is the only way that we're actually going to be able to have the liberation of Black women.
Garrett-Ferguson talked about some of the issues plaguing Black women. Coming up on 19 News at 11, I introduce you to one mother who had a high-risk pregnancy. She shares her experiences and how she believes that she can help save other women. Reporting in Cleveland for the Next 400, Nyorkor, 19 News.
At 6 o'clock, we showed you how one local activist is defending Black women through art. All new at 11, we introduce you to a mother who suffered a devastating loss during a high-risk pregnancy. Nyorkor continues the Next 400 with her emotional story.
In our previous report, I introduced you to a local activist who's sparking change with the hashtag Defend Black Women. She talked about some of the issues plaguing the community. Well, now I want to introduce you to a mother who's sharing her story in the hopes that she can help save lives. Samantha Pierce says enough is enough.
It's like the biggest club that nobody wants to admit that they're a part of. But why? Because we are not going to cure this, and we are not going to heal until we actually start to have the conversation that needs to be had.
In 2009, she and her husband were pregnant with twins. She tells me around 21 weeks, she started leaking, so doctors hospitalized and put her on bed rest. A few days later, she went into labor and spontaneously delivered twin boys, Christian and Jaden. The babies were too premature and didn't survive. Samantha tells me she was stunned. She left with more questions than answers from her doctors.
They just kept asking me, but nobody told me, like, even in any of those conversations, did anyone say, you know, we're asking because, you know, you're at high risk of preterm birth, but simply because you walked in here as a Black woman and you're pregnant with twins, that, you know, nobody ever had that conversation with me.
Sadly, she's not alone. According to First Year Cleveland, racism is a contributing and underlying factor to why Black babies are dying. The numbers are staggering. In the United States, Black babies die at twice the rate of white babies before they are even 1 year old. It's 3 times that here in the state of Ohio. Here in Cuyahoga County, Black babies die at a rate 4 times higher than white babies, and in the city, that number is 7 times higher. Black infants continue to die at a rate of 2.5 to 3 times that of white infants. Samantha says we need to talk about it in public and at home. Sometimes family members have information they could pass down that could save lives.
The truth of the matter is it's a generational curse that we actually need to break. There's like 10 women in my family that would come forth years after I lost to say that I lost too.
Just one of the reasons why she's leading by example. Samantha tells me her 3 living children know their siblings that passed on.
We need to have more of these conversations about what has happened to us. Like my children, they know everything that happened. They have participated in the Wave of Light event with me every year. They know who Christian and Jaden are. They are our older twins. My oldest son knows who Christian and Jaden are. He talks about them all the time. We have their pictures. We talk about them all the time. They will not come up saying that they didn't know there was an issue.
Now she's an advocate. She runs her own nonprofit named after her twin boys. She sits on the board of First Year Cleveland, and she leads Wave of Light every year. The event remembers babies who were lost through miscarriage and infant death.
Over the years, has it gotten easier for you to discuss?
It's therapy. And I've gone through therapy, and it's continuous therapy. So, I mean, is it easy to discuss? It's never really easy to discuss, but is it necessary? It's absolutely necessary. Even the smallest things add up to child loss. It just keeps compounding and keeps compounding. It just keeps going and going into this snowball effect. And next thing you know, you have an avalanche with you losing babies in the end. And that's not okay. You know, and it's all because we think we gotta keep pressing in this life. And really we don't. We really need to unpack, and we need to deal with the things that's happened to us or for us. We need to change the narrative just a little bit.
Reporting in Cleveland for the Next400, Sia Nyorkor, 19 News.
And we are proud to partner with the Cleveland Public Library on this. They've curated a list of resources where you can learn more about infant mortality. A valuable resource. You can find the list on their website and ours, cleveland19.com.